Jade. Welcome to the Dunedin Stories podcast series.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful to have you here. I know that the Dunedin community is going to be really excited to hear about your journey.
Yeah.
Albeit a short one so far.
Yeah.
You probably packed a lot into those few years.
Definitely had a good time.
Yeah. So do you want to start with telling us who you are and perhaps what you're up to at the moment that we can support you in?
So my name's Jade Weber. I am originally from Auckland and I made my way to Dunedin about 5 years ago. My brother attended uni down here and I had visited him once and fell in love with the city. It was a very cool vibe. It was cool to see everybody out in public enjoying life and the architecture and the vibe. It was attractive and
awesome.
I was very compelled to it. And then went through quite a significant mental health issue and I'd reached the end of my high school career and I needed a fresh start. I needed a place where nobody knew me and nobody knew my story and a place I could just be Jade without being this girl governed by a mental health disorder.
Yeah.
So I decided to hop on a plane and came on down, spent a year in university, spent a year living on Hyde Street, which was all sorts of craziness. And I struggle to leave Dunedin as it is. I struggle to go home for even a week. I get so homesick by this place. I love it. It's everything. I love that you can stop on the side of the road and ask someone for directions and they'll help you and they'll tell you about all the great spots. And I love that you can, everybody knows everybody, everyone's connected and there's a real youthful, positive vibe with the students in the city that I think is really cool. And it takes you back to that inner child and that place where it's like actually everything isn't so serious all the time and it can be fun and the city can be great. And that's what I love.
Oh, it's awesome. I'm pleased you've found a place that feels like you belong.
Absolutely.
Quite different to Auckland.
Very different.
Yeah.
Very, very different. People talk to me about the traffic and I stop them in their tracks because they have no idea what it is actually like. But I don't know, the people are better. The people are friendlier. There's a lot more freedom and space in the city, I feel. And I love the fact that you can go from one side of Dunedin to the other in half an hour. It's really, really cool. Yeah.
So do you think it's going to support you in the next steps of the Jade story? Is there a career pathway that you're looking to explore?
Yeah, I think anywhere I go in my career, there'll always be a space. I really want to dive deep into mental health and the use of mental health, and I want to create a space for young people to come and know they're not alone, to share their stories, to bounce off each other and to actually create a movement where we're helping mental health and not making it inaccessible by therapy that costs too much or a waiting list that is hundreds of thousands of people long. It's about creating something to stop the problem now. And, I believe that if one person does it, then the next person does it, and it creates a huge collective of people who can keep that momentum going. And I just think it takes one person. And I think mental health is a huge problem in New Zealand and especially in youth. And being through my own struggles, I would have just wanted somebody to reach out and be like, hey, I know what you're going through right now is really hard and you don't see a way out of it, but I promise you there is, and just hold on to that, keep going, keep working through it and providing resources that actually do help people and give them a point of difference and give them a place where they can come and be like, yeah, I have a mental health disorder, but it's not going to stop me and I'm going to get over it. I'm going to heal from it. I'm going to go do what I want to do in life without the restrictions and control of a mental health condition. Yeah.
And you've done something that not many people do already, haven't you? You have written in words your story and been extraordinarily vulnerable and brave.
Absolutely.
And published a book.
Yeah. And I tell you, it was definitely a book I didn't want anybody to see. I wrote this book when I was living in pain and hurt and just pure anger at the world because I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I had a condition that literally stopped. Like, I wasn't allowed to eat with my condition because I wasn't allowed to do anything that benefited me, because then I thought someone that I loved would die the next day and it would be all my fault. And I wrote this book for my loved ones to let them know that this is what was going on in my head and give them something back that they couldn't really get. I mean, no one can hop inside anybody's mind and see what they're going through, but I wanted to give them a taste of what it was actually like to live inside my mind. And I had a few family members read it and they were like, no, this needs to get out there, Jade, like people need to read this. And so about 2 years ago, I just self-published my book. It's probably literally just a diary of all my journal entries and what I went through with chronic OCD, and the messages and the people that have been impacted by it. Like, I never, ever imagined in my wildest dreams it would impact so many people. And my mission was to change one person's life. It's like, if I can change one person's life, I know they'll change somebody else's, and I know they'll change somebody else's, and that's what it meant for me. And I think just being a voice of hope for people and just letting them know that we all experience this. Like, the person next to them experiences mental health and you might not even know it. And I just wanted it to be a book where you can turn to and you can be like, yeah, I feel really shit right now. Yeah, I'm going through this, but if she can do it, I can do it too. And to promote those sparks of fire in people to be like, no, I want better for myself and I deserve better for myself and I am worthy of a life without the restrictions of mental health.
Sounds like it was particularly healing for you.
It was, mate, yeah, definitely. It's great to see it on paper instead of in your mind. And I think, yeah, absolutely. It's just releasing. It's releasing all those emotions and all those heavy felt feelings and getting them out and getting them into the world.
Yeah. So you're thinking about that and what's next for Jade.
Yeah.
Talk about you in the third person.
Yeah.
Where are you thinking this might take you? What are you considering?
I've been a lost little person myself, and I have jumped from career to career, and I have dived into things that I think I've wanted but haven't necessarily been what I thought I wanted. And now I have just decided only recently to go all in on my mental health work. I want to coach people. I want to support people. I want to be next to youth when they're feeling those feelings, and I want to hold their hand and hold their light for them until I can give it back to them. I think the mental health system as a whole and the support that is available out there isn't enough. I think it's pretty poor, if I'm being honest. And I think creating a space or a new almost avenue for people to go to mental health is, being a coach and like having one-on-one time with people every week, and or going out and having a coffee or going out in nature and just taking a breath and reminding them of what is important and what matters and what they can do. I think I'd love to focus on one-on-one people and having that kind of coaching session. And I think it also helps having someone been there. People can relate to me. People can know that I have been in the trenches of a very dark, dark place, and now I see the light and I walk in the light every day. And I want people, especially youth, to know that. And I also want to be that person that, if you change that one person's life, you're changing their lineage, you're changing their generations coming after them. It's breaking that cycle for a better future overall, like for me, for you, for us is where I'm going.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Somebody so young, you've got some very wise words as well.
Yeah, definitely a writer. It comes in handy. But yeah, I think.
Do you think Dunedin will be particularly supportive? I mean, I already know the answer to this question.
Yeah, I do. And I think having the uni here as well with such young demographics helps a lot. I know I know, like, my parents' generation was taught to harden up and get over it. And I think there's a big space there, especially when my parents' generation now have kids that are going through this. And I think there's a big space to bring, parents and caregivers together to enlighten them on the topic and let them view it in a way it's not scary. It's just reality. And there's ways around it, and there's ways you can get through it. And this is what you do instead of fearing it and getting angry at them, or I think there's everybody experiences mental health. Everybody in this world, whether you think it or not, we all go through it. Everybody can feel it and relate to it, and I think no matter what community you're in, there's always going to be a space for it to be preached off the top of buildings.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It is different now. On reflection, I'm nearing 50.
Yeah.
We didn't have social media.
No,
it wasn't in existence, and going through challenges meant that it was sort of, there was boxes that you could put things into and leave them there and not be reminded constantly that other people have different lives, and you're constantly comparing. Using social media,
100%. 100%. Social media has a lot to answer for.
It does
a lot to answer for,
and it's having our young people understand that we only really do show the highlight reels, don't we?
100%. You don't see. My mum literally came to me the other day, and I posted a story on Instagram saying some things, and she goes, "I don't think you should be posting that, Jade. I think it's quite triggering and not what people need to be hearing." And I'm like, the only reason you're getting triggered is because I'm not posting that I'm in Hawaii in a bikini on the beach. I'm posting something that is real and raw, and people don't hear, because all we hear about is engagements and babies and all the great things happening in people's lives. And it's such a misrepresentation of what life actually is.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'm of a similar ilk. I post reality as well. Recently I was at a conference, and I was so anxious about attending this conference.
Yeah.
And I posted a photo of anxious Bex on Insta.
Love it.
Beforehand, and I said, this is what Bex looks like right now as I head into this conference. And I got so many messages, private messages, asking if I'm okay. Yeah, I am okay. I need people to know that there's a reality to life that's not always glitter and rainbows.
Yeah. And do you know what's amazing? The amount of people that reach out to you when you post those things compared to what happens when you just post good things. It's like, oh my God, she actually, she's feeling what I feel.
Yeah, there's a connection there.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so the book is available online.
Yes.
And you've got a website.
I do, yes.
What's the website, Jade?
www.jadeweber.net, but it is called Insanity. So if you Google that, it should pop straight up.
That was the posting when you submitted an application to be on the Dunedin Stories podcast. It said company name, and you put Insanity.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to ask.
How did it come?
Yeah, well, how did it come? I mean, we kind of can understand how it came, but what's the reception been to that?
Yeah.
And
I think it comes back to that whole thing of being real and raw. Like, I'm not going to post a fluffy title for something that's not fluffy. Insanity is having mental health issues. It's not quote unquote being sane, but it's being something different. And it's, even though that's a stereotype in itself, it highlights what mental health is. And I feel like people want to get away from that because it's such an icky feeling when you hear it. But that is the reality of mental health. That is what we feel. That is how it goes in our minds. And it's highlighting straight away that I'm not here to mess around. Like, I'm here to promote what mental health is, and I'm not going to fluff it up. I'm going to say it exactly how it is, because we all feel it, and I'm not afraid to do that. I'm afraid to tell you, I know what you're feeling. I've felt insane in the past. I have. I've looked at people and been like, you wouldn't even know the thoughts I have. I've been shut in a psychiatric ward thinking my meal's going to be slided under the door 3 times a day. I have felt like somebody in an asylum going to do an electric chair every day. I have felt that insaneness, and that is mental health. We're just categorizing it a different way. And I wanted to really highlight that and say, look, we're here for this, and how do we change it?
Yeah. And, famous words in Aotearoa is it's okay to not be okay.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And even those of us that have gone through considerable challenges and mental health stresses, there's still going to be days where we're not okay.
100%. 100%. Life throws us so many things, but I think it's about having enough confidence and healing yourself and your nervous system and your body so that when those things come up, it's not the biggest reaction in the world. It's like, okay, this happened. What's the solution? Where do we go? How do we get through it? Instead of freaking out.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to lighten the tone a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think like what you're talking about is incredibly important.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing what's next for you on that journey of building an organisation that has impact. How I would describe it, Jade.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're a recent import into Ōtepoti Dunedin.
Yes.
So it's always intriguing to hear some answers to very Dunedin-esque questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People that aren't born and bred like me.
Yeah.
So, Dunedin, as you said, has a lot to offer, great outdoors, beaches, etc.
Yeah.
Where is that one place that you do go when you want to just have some time alone and find some peace or whatever it might be?
Honestly, a lot of the time I go to the Outram Glen. And I'll walk the track that goes round and just find a little beach on the side that no one's at, and I'll just sit there. Wow. I feel...
How did you discover Outram Glen if you've only been in Dunedin?
I went with a friend once, actually. We went and had a swim and put the dogs in the water and had a little picnic. And then I just started walking. I just started exploring it, and I was like, hey, so here it is.
Dunedin place there.
Yeah. So it's awesome. It's very, very cool.
Fond memories of thousands of people, I'm sure.
I bet, yeah.
And the old parties that we all used to have out there when we were teenagers.
That would have been great. That would have been great. Yeah, I bet.
Oh, fascinating. What about food? Dunedin is, we're lucky. We have a whole lot to choose from.
Yes.
Where would you take a friend if they were coming to visit you and they hadn't been here and you're going to take them out for lunch?
Do you know, I'm so boring, but to me, you can't beat a good fish and chips on the beach.
Brilliant.
So I go to the Tainui camp store and I'll grab a burger and chips and I'll take them to Jade and I'll sit on the beach with them and eat that. And I think it's just the most Dunedin thing ever. Just grabbing a bite to eat and sitting up and parking at Jade and I love it.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
There's a Facebook page, Dunedin's Best Fish and Chips. I don't know if you remember.
No. Oh my gosh, I'll do that.
I mean, because there's hundreds of fish and chip shops in Dunedin.
Yeah.
And they all get rated and it's fascinating.
Yeah. No, it is cool. They all do the same thing, but they're all so different too.
Well, we haven't had fish and chips as an answer yet.
There you go.
So you need to worry.
Yeah, no, I love it. Can't beat it.
In the calendar, you had the chance to explore a particular event that you've identified?
I love the Gypsy Fair.
Oh, yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'll go to that every year. I'll get my reading done. I just love being with free-spirited and spiritual, and it's such a vibe. I love it. I look forward to that every year.
No, that's cool.
Definitely.
It's usually down the Oval, wasn't it?
Yeah, or in Brighton or something, which is real cool.
Yeah. Nice.
Love Brighton. Brighton is beautiful.
So the question that everybody finds a little bit tough is the old Dunedin legend one.
Yeah.
And because you're new, that doesn't mean that you don't know people that are from Dunedin, or you might not have, you might have been made aware of some people.
Yeah.
If you wanted to share an ocho, hot chocolate, or a Spates, or perhaps a glass of wine, the Dunedin legend, who would that be and why?
I think I would have to say Roseanne Connolly George, and I was introduced to her by a colleague, and I just got so inspired by her story because she had been the supporter for her son, and it really related a lot to my mum and how she was a supporter for me. And I love the fact that she's advocating for the mental health system. And I love the fact that she's the older generation advocating for it and not just a girl and a youth and having experienced it. You know, she was taught to harden up and get on with it, and to be like, no, that's actually not the way is really inspiring. And I'd definitely love to hear her story.
Well, shout out to Rosie.
Definitely.
Who turns out is quite a dear friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I fully advocate on her behalf for what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
She's an incredible person, and I know sitting down and talking to her about your journey and her sharing her stories, it would be quite the glass of wine.
It would be. I think it'd be quite the bottle, actually, but it'll happen, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I hope you do connect in that way.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thinking about Dunedin again, and again, you're a recent recruit, so you have different insights. And we probably do know the answer to this, but if you had the power to change anything that would have a positive impact on Dunedin as a community, what do you think that might be, Jade?
Is it weird to say, like, keeping the heritage alive?
I don't know. It's
like, I think Dunedin, for me, there's a lot of history here. There's a lot of stories. There's a lot of people's journeys, and I think like continuing to carry on Dunedin's legacy and the people that are here, and showing the world what people are here and what impacts we have to make and who we are as a city, I think is what I would love to do. I think we're very connected, and I'd love to show that off.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Again, so wise for somebody so young.
Been through it.
Yes. Yeah. Jade, is there anything else you'd like to share with the Dunedin Stories community around your next steps, or is there anything we can do to support you? Or
I think, honestly, like, just even things like this and coming along today and getting the opportunity and just continuing to connect with people and share people's stories and listen to people's stories. And I think, I'm not sure if there's anything people can really do, but I think just being them and being the people of Dunedin is all I need them to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jade.
Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it.
Really lovely. Remind us again what the website is and how we can get in touch with you.
So our website is www.jadeweber.net. If you Google Insanity, it should pop up. Otherwise, contact me through my Instagram, just Jade Weber, and talk to me on there.
Fantastic. I look forward to watching what's next for you, Jade.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you very much.